And welcome to another edition of Play Ball. I'm Kevin Capie, the Journal-Star, joined by the patriarch of the Peoria Chiefs, Pete Vonachen. And Pete, we're here on Greg Maddux night. And did you ever think, when he was here 25 years ago, opening night, that you'd be doing this for him?
No. 25 years ago he came in. He was just another good young pitcher. Was drafted high, of course, and everybody had high expectations for him. But I don't think anybody thought that he'd accumulate and attain the heights that he has. Gold Gloves, the Cy Young Awards, and the guy's just probably arguably one of the best right-hand pitchers in the game of baseball ever.
It's a little bit different weather here tonight, with it's 90 degrees than it was that opening night out at Old Mining Field.
Well, it's one of those typical April nights, Kevin, where you got wind blowing and you got a little spitting rain and it's running down the back of your neck, and you're wondering, why in the heck am I here? And but it was a great night. We had Eric Carey here, we had Sean Dunston here, and Greg pitching, and he weighed, well, we were talking today, probably only weighed about 150 pounds, and the wind blowing like crazy. I told Pete Vonachen, I said, you better put a couple of bricks in the back pocket of that kid you got pitching out there. The wind's going to blow him right off the mound. But Harry stayed about 4 or 5 innings, and they had to get back to Chicago. And they were a little concerned about the weather, but when he left, he says, that's a big league pitcher.
Pete likes to tell a story, evidently, where you had to bum some money off him to buy a car battery or something that first year. Do you recall that story? Is there any
to
that?
Yeah. Bought a car, needed a car, so bought a clunker somewhere from somebody. It always broke down. I think Pete was the only one I knew, and Pete was real good about that. He got my wife a job while she was out here, and he was good to the players, and he did more than he had to for us, and that's something that we always appreciated.
One thing I want to get straight out right here, but all these people, there was a time he needed a battery for his car. I got tired of jumping in his car to get it started, so I got him a battery. Now, all these years, he's been trying to pay me back that $28. Last night he laid it on the table and says, here's your damn $28. And I says, I'm not taking it because I love to go all over this country and tell Greg Maddux to go to me $28. Most of the guys I took care of never made it out of A-ball, a lot of them, but you treat them all the same. They're kids that are struggling, try to make the big leagues, try to move up. They're playing for very, very, very little money. And I always recognize the fact that these kids didn't have any money, and when they come in and say, you got a little money before our checks come in, I always took care of them because I knew they didn't have any money and they weren't going to eat very well that night. So I always I always carried a pocket full of 20s. I don't know why I did. And I'd always give them a 20. Back in the early 80s, 20 was a lot of money back in those days. Never wrote it down, never asked for it back. They paid me back. They paid me back. If they didn't, it was okay too.
Back when you brought the club to Peoria, did you ever think it'd be as successful as it was? And you look at the guys that have come through with Ryan Sandberg as the manager, Grace, Joyner, and some of the other guys that have come through?
We've had some great players come through here, but also, Kevin, we got 5 guys that started here as managers, other than one a player, that are now managing in the big leagues. And we got 3 or 4 big league coaches, pitching coaches, bullpen coaches. You got Joe Madden at the Rays, and he was the American League Manager of the Year. And you got Jim Tracy, the National League Manager of the Year. Now Brad Mills is starting to pick things up his first year at Houston. And of course, Joe Girard, he's the manager of the world champion New York Yankees. And you got Pete Vonachen, who was an interim manager twice. So, and I talked to Pete the other day. I said, the Phillies don't pick it up, you may be an interim manager for the third time. But, I don't think any team, any franchise has a record for putting coaches and managers in the big leagues. It started here.
Well, we'd like to thank Pete for joining us here on another edition of Play Ball.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.